It's no secret that the current landscape of Webtoon has been dominated by the romance genre. Few other stories ever managed to creep in among those detailing the affairs of the heart as the most popular on the platform, and few ever will, because romance is simple, straightforward, and easy to understand once you're a completely uninvolved third party. No complicated power systems, political maneuvering, or impassioned training arcs. Just feelings and bad decisions, things every living human being can relate to. With love being so universal an experience, it's no wonder romance has dug its claws into the top ranks, and I honestly don't expect it to relinquish its standing. But does it deserve the acclaim it gets? Well, yes and no. I obviously won't be judging a genre as a whole because that's stupid, so instead I present to you a tier list. For day 5 of Webtoon Week, you get to hear me go off script again because I have 24 hours to make 5 videos, and this is the easiest way. Let's dive right in. First up is going to be the Age of Arrogance. This is actually a pretty new one on Webtoon, and I've chosen 10 of the currently most popular ones. They are in alphabetical order or something, and these aren't the top 10, but I wanted the ones which I've read, so I had to go a bit further down the list. So, for the Age of Arrogance, which is up first, I think I'm going to be putting it in B. Honestly, if we're talking about a literary analysis of this series, it might be higher than some of the ones that I'm going to put above it, but the problem is it's only like 10 episodes in, and that's really just not a fair sample size, cause it hasn't had time to fall off like a certain webtoon I'm going to be talking about in the future. I love how the characters interact. It's one of the ones with a contractual marriage. I've spoken about these before, and the female lead is someone not super interested in romance. The male lead kind of is, he's just a guy, but he isn't very interested in her. She's someone who's spoken about as the barbarian princess because she's lived in the outer lands fighting a war on behalf of the kingdom her entire life, which she inherited from her father. So, she does everything, agrees to this marriage, and finds herself in this position simply to help her people out for the extra resources, and the guy's just like, oh, I can go and further my political ambitions if I get away into her land. So they agree to it, but it ends up being this cute dynamic where he's like, huh, she's a very unusual person. She's kind of interesting. Most noble people are not like this. Let me keep on doing things which I am trying to do to tease her and see how she reacts. And it obviously flies over her head all the time, and it's one of those kinds of stories. I want to see more of where it's going to go. I'm giving it this neutral rating because it hasn't done anything to offend me, but it hasn't done anything to make me go, wow, yet. Next up, Down to Earth. I've spoken about this one before, actually, and I remember I gave it a 69 of 100 rating, and I don't think I've read it ever since then, so that would put it somewhere around B tier. But that was when ranking it among webtoons in their entirety. If it's strictly among romance webtoons, I think I'm gonna bump it up to A. We'll see how this changes as my list goes on, but honestly, I feel inclined to give it this boost because of the characters. Something I value in a story is whether they have believable characters or not. Can I relate to your problems? I mean, Zeta, the female lead, is an alien from another planet who the male lead has to take care of, and that's not a very relatable problem, but he's a guy who's been through heartbreak, he lives a tough life, and this very naive girl who knows literally nothing about the world is, well, like his child who he has to take care of and educate, but at the same time, she is not a child. And you put people of opposite genders who are attracted to those opposite genders in such close proximity for such a long time, some chemistry is bound to form. Or a blood feud. Luckily it went the chemistry direction because it's romance, but stuff starts going down that angle, and I appreciate the characters. She feels a bit airheaded at times, but I feel like that was kind of inevitable. I feel like I didn't get to see enough character growth from them, and I wasn't sure where exactly the story was going, but I only read the first season, so that's why I'm not punishing it too much. This might be like, reverse recency bias. It's been so long that, I don't remember its good points exactly. The Dragon King's Bride, I read this one recently for that video I did, reacting to 16 webtoons. Honestly, I'm gonna have to leave it in C. It was kind of lackluster in the beginning. So, in terms of the plot, she has a special healing ability, he is a dragon, he's looking to sire an heir, but it's very hard for these dragon people to have children because, it's usually either a fertility issue or the woman not being able to survive, so that doesn't go very well. But some of the things which I found very shady is that he met her when she was like 6 years old. I'm not very up to date. I think he may have figured it out, but that's something I find really creepy. When you get married to someone you knew when she was 6 years old and you were an adult man, that has nothing to do with the romance between them. I understand, and shadier things have happened, but none of them really struck me as very unique people. He's a lot more brutish than the typical romance protagonist, so I'll give him that. As the male lead, he stands out a bit, but he doesn't have much of a personality thus far. I believe the only time he's ever shown to feel anything is when his unwell mother is involved in situations, but even then, he doesn't stand. There hasn't been anything to make me feel really attached to the guy, and when the male lead is kind of underwhelming, I end up expecting more of the female lead, but her main personality trait is that she was abused growing up and unloved by her family, mistreated, so both of them are the kind of character who typically relies on another character to bring them out of their shells and help them grow, but both of them need help growing, and I kind of look at the page and I'm like, what is going on? Maybe it's because it's been a while, and I'm sorry if I don't remember this well, but that's how I honestly feel at this point. Next, I am the villain. Okay, I'm going to move this one up to B as well. I'm going to put this one in B. So in this story, the female lead is reincarnated into a book, I believe, into some story as the villainess, not the hero. Yeah, the villainess of that series. Oh, the title is I Am the Villain. Why am I confused? Okay, so the female lead is reincarnated into the body of the villainess, and she's like, huh, this sucks. And she was not prepared for this. She's someone who's kind of timid, it seems, and the villainess was not. She's like, okay, how can I get myself out of this situation before I die? Which is very typical in this kind of story, and she decides, well, first things first, I'm going to break off the engagement to the guy I know does not want to marry me, so I can get away from here and just go live out a quiet life in some corner, and leave my family as well, because they hated each other too. But it doesn't end up going that way, and as she tries to break off her marriage, some holdups keep on happening. She ends up hiring some very hot knight to protect her at all times. That's a ship which seems very popular. In terms of the romance aspects, I'd say most of the chemistry that's formed so far has been between her and her knight. It seems like the crown prince is someone who's I want to say he's developing feelings, but it seems more like he's just confused, like, why doesn't she like me anymore? I am intrigued by this. And those are characters I tend not to like, but he isn't being set up as the main love interest anyway, so I don't care about that. As for her, I like how she's someone who tries to see the good in people and be positive and spread love and kindness and joy, and I have notes for reasons like this. What are my actual grading criteria? Are the characters believable? Okay, the characters seem a bit idealized. Are they relatable? Not extremely. I like the personalities. Are they, what's that thing? Do they provoke my emotions? Yeah, I'm like just going through my checklist here. Do they? Do they make me feel? That's an excellent question. I'm not even sure I remember who all 5 of these people in the image are, if we're being honest, or if they've all been... The one guy I was talking about isn't even here. Oh, the prince has a brother. I forgot about that guy. Okay, honestly, I can't move this up, can't move it down. It's too early in the story. They're like 20 episodes. Not as much to work with as I Love You. Now we're getting into the heavy hitters. Okay, this one was given enough time to cook. I'm gonna put this all the way up in A tier as well. So, this is set on Earth. It's funny that it's the first one with no fantastical elements. She's a girl. Those 2 are brothers, I believe. Like half-brothers or something. I don't remember how to... I could be lying through my teeth right now. No, I believe they... It's gonna be so funny if I'm remembering the wrong story. I believe they are brothers. Okay, what I do remember is that all of them are very traumatized children. Like, geez, they have been through a lot. She is financially not very well off. They're like the sons of some big company leader. And, well, it's a romance story. They're the main leads, and, you know, the guy on the left is pretty... like uptight, and the guy on the right is the carefree one. And well, okay, back to the checklist. Let's see, anything else happening other than the romance? Well, she tries to figure out her life. She juggles her friendships, her relationships with people. I like that the relationships outside of the main romances are developed. That's not something I should take for granted. It's not in very many other stories. Alright, we're working on something. Is the world populated? Are other things going on? Did I just repeat that? I sort of did. Okay, I don't think very much happens between the characters who aren't related to the main trio. That's something which I'm gonna have to mark it down for. But I guess that's the thing, keeping it out of S-Class. This is kind of like that video I did recently. Do female characters deserve good writing? Where I just start talking and I have no idea what I'm doing. But well, I guess every now and then we've got to live with one of these. Okay, let's see. How are we doing on time? It's not showing me. Great. I'll just hope we're meeting our quota right now. This one I read this for 2 hours just now so I could hit 10. I am the queen in this life. I've got like 30 episodes in. Why do I like all of these so much? I'm gonna put this up in A as well. Okay, hear me out. This is going to be something just for the people who have read this already, so I'm sorry, but let's talk about Cesar. You see, she went back 14 years. She was killed by her sister who stole her husband, who was the king. That's the plot. And at some point, the husband who was stolen from her, who really treated her very badly, and I don't plan on editing this video, but I'm putting some of these quotes up on the screen. He had some very heinous bars for her. I promise you, if these were said about me, I would never recover for as long as I lived. That guy was not great. But you know, she goes back in time and she's like, I'm going to do this all from scratch. I'm going to marry the other prince, and then I'm going to stop Cesar from being able to rise to the throne, and then we're going, well, yeah, I'm going to be queen and live a good life, and Alfonso, the crown prince, will not have to be killed. And we're all mad at Cesar because you're like, oh, you offended best girl, you're the bad guy. And he was, but how come he doesn't get the same forgiveness that she gets? What's her name? Ariadne? Yes, Ariadne. Why does she get so much forgiveness when she goes after the crown prince, who she actually killed in her past life? And the difference between them is this was not undone for her. She has all the memories of killing this guy for her mans. Like, how come we ignore that and we're like, she's the bad person, when Cesar, who was just guilty of adultery, which is bad, but it's not killing someone, is like, we will never forgive you, stay away from best girl no matter what. Like, I just don't appreciate the double standard, and I had to get that rant out because it was fresh in my mind. I mean, I'm still rooting for Alfonso because he's a great guy and I like nice guys. Like, nice guys need to win every now and then, please. But I'm just saying, you know, if there's an angle with Cesar, this is a new life 14 years back. Like, he's guilty of being a womanizer, sure, but men are trash. Okay, I'm going on. The characters the characters are alright. They're fine. And what else is going on here? Oh, okay. A might be a bit high. It might just be my recency bias. Like 15 minutes ago I was reading this. Are we knocking this down to B? Does the progression fit the story? Does it move at a pace which is suitable for the goals it's trying to accomplish? I think the pacing is fine. Is tension successfully built up? I love that scene where Cesar steps in and is the hero, and I like how, because politics, Alfonso starts being you know, I'm leaving it an A. I remember the most details, so yeah. Lore Olympus, I'll admit I'm not the highest on this. I don't think it's D, obviously not. It wouldn't be as popular as it has been if it was bad, but I'm honestly thinking B or C. Maybe it's because of how long it's been, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and put it in B, but what was her name? Persephone? I want to believe it was Persephone. Whoever she is right there, I'm like, I was not very sold on her character. I was not very sold on Zeus. Nah, it's not Zeus. On Hades, that's the one. Yeah, I don't think I should be judging this after how long it's been. None of the characters made me want to see what was going to happen to them, and I'm big on enjoying characters. And as far as the pacing was concerned, one of the things I always use to judge the quality of like how you build your narrative is when I complete an episode or a chapter, does it make me want to see the next one with all my heart? And if I was never up to date, I'm afraid the answer is no. I just had zero desire to keep going. The art, while, well, artistic, felt inconsistent at times, and I'm like, is this something where they're trying to portray different things all the time and try to change the art to match the situation, or is it just, well, inconsistent and a problem which is resultant from limited ability of the creator? It's hard for me to know some of those things for sure, and I'm gonna move on before I make people upset, because I probably want to use it in the thumbnail because it is popular. Next, Marry My Husband. I thought D was going to be empty, but this is honestly going to go there. This may be one of the more controversial opinions, but honestly, this was not very good. Like, the first 10, maybe 20 episodes / chapters, if we're being generous, were heavenly. I loved the intro to this, but from then on, like, whenever they got together, it was mind-numbingly boring. I only kept going because I wanted to see the series end. I'm like, I might as well see it through at this point. I found the whole idea of, she has finally found someone and freed herself from that trash to be quite interesting, but then the story had nothing else going for it whatsoever, and I'm just gonna move on because there were more chapters of nothing going on than there were chapters of something going on, and that's a bad thing. Yeah, I'll stop there. Operation True Love. Operation True Love. Where do I have you? I think probably in B. No, it's better than Dragon King's Bride. B or C? This is a tough one. I wish I had chat, like, over here, being like, what do you guys think? But I have garbage Wi-Fi, and honestly, no one would listen to me. Or come watch me live. Whoops, I hope that didn't make too loud a sound. I'm not re-recording this. Oh wait, I dropped my mouse by mistake. I'm not saying I'm putting this in C. Operation True Love. I think I'm going to lift this. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it here in B tier. The premise was fine. I liked the love phone. But, ooh, I forgot about Best Boys. I loved the Best Boys. Oh, I think I might put it in A because both of the male leads were amazing. Oh, I love the stories which are being told about the characters. Oh, and I just remembered that her sister is evil. Oh, I was forgetting some of these details. Yeah, I really should have just like thought before I started doing. You see, when the characters make me feel, I love it. I love it. Okay, whether I hate them or not, I mean, if I'm feeling something, I'm getting invested, and it means you're doing something amazing as the writer. Some of these other series, like Olympus, I'm like, okay, interesting, cool, good for you. Operation True Love, I was conflicted. I don't even remember their names, but I remember their life stories. Oh, this is an awful video, but I enjoyed that. I'm gonna move on because I have nothing to say and I don't want it to be more clear than it already is. And Remarried Empress, I talk about this one too much. S tier, easy. Full video on this one already up, and man, I love Navier. You see, this one's so good I remember the female lead's name. I could not say that for very many of these stories. I've spoken about this for too long for me to still be explaining what it's about, but it's the Remarried Empress. She divorces the first emperor and then marries the emperor of the neighboring empire. Then that is literally the plot, and it is magnificent. I love how the world is built slowly. You never know, you discover that magic is a thing, you discover that other races exist, and it's all one piece at a time, and it's only introduced when it's necessary to the story. You don't get any exposition dumps. So right now, the story's so open-ended in the way that it's being built that dragons could descend upon the kingdom, and well, we don't know dragons exist, but we don't know that they don't. I find world building like that to be extremely interesting, and I also love seeing the conflict of Navier's heart because she's someone who's been hurt. Like, she wasn't like madly in love with her previous husband, but she had some friendship with him, did not expect things to go the way that they did, and it's something which did have some impact on her, and it's something which she has to live with and deal with, and yeah, despite all of the pain she goes through there, you know, I admire how dutiful she is in fulfilling her obligations as a ruler to whichever kingdom she's serving for at that time. See, she's business first, put feelings second, even if those feelings are really inconvenient, and I love people like that. I love that kind of character, and I think I'm gonna get out of here right now and try string together another video. I hope like all 5 of you enjoyed listening to me so far. Stick around for the next days of Webtoon Week. I'm gonna look at the schedule right now. If you listened to me through this video, which is probably the worst one, you deserve a reward. Let's see, I'm looking at it. This is supposed to go up on Tuesday, which is like Monday night or something. So next, tomorrow we have Omniscient Reader versus Solo Leveling. I'm writing that script soon, and that one's gonna have editing. And then this one I might change, but the last day of Webtoon Week is supposed to be a video on the manhwa Carnaby Kim. So look forward to those. Those are very different genres from this, but if you're into them, I hope you have a fun time. I'm on vacation right now, not responding to any comments because I don't have Wi-Fi. If these videos are going up when I want them to, of course, and outros are bad for YouTube videos. Goodbye.